So let us continue nutrition. There is one small portion, that is assessment of nutritional status. See, and I just want to remind, from the exam point of view, this is not very important. But if you want to study want to know the nutrition, these facts actually, you should know this assessment of nutrition status. So I don't think you have to take all the slides, only different methods, some slides you can take, but this is most interesting also, and this is required for your day-to-day life, so it is better to know. Okay, and it is part of your syllabus also, quite interesting one. So nutritional status, how to assess, means how to evaluate. Assessment is the meaning of evaluate. How to evaluate nutritional status. Okay, what is the nutritional status of a whether normal person or anybody, whether they are taking proper nutrients in proper proportion, or whether they are obese, they are overweight, or you can also assess their internal body is functioning properly. So all these things comes under nutritional status. Okay, so anyway, also I am sending the slides, so you can just go through. So it deals with the state of nourishment, consumption and utilization of nutrients. So nutritional status is determined by complex interaction between internal constitutional factors and external environmental factors. So internal or constitutional factors like age, sex, nutrition behavior, nutrition and behavior, physical activity and diseases. Because these count, age, it counts. Children or child may require some of the nutrients more quantity. Okay, because of the developing bone, all organs and all. Sometimes females require less, males required more nutrients, some of the nutrients. Physical activity, those are laborers, hard workers may need more carbohydrate. And disease state, they may have to avoid a certain, like hypertension, sodium, all they have to avoid sodium, all those things will comes. So external environmental factors like food safety, cultural and social and economical circumstances. This is just like a story, so I don't want to go in great detail. So purpose of nutritional assessment, this is the one. Who is at risk become malnourished. Malnourished may lead to diseases like protein, energy, malnutrition. So if you assess the nutritional status only, this is like some group survey and all, we can identify who is malnourished, especially in case of school going children and their this females and all. Some are with the anemia, with the lack of iron deficient food and all. So they can supply iron supplements, or they can advise balanced diet and all, so they can eliminate. So it is a social problem to develop healthcare programs that meet the community need, which are defined by the assessment. Effectiveness of nutritional program and interventions once initiated. Nutritional programs, mainly it is concerned with done by World Health Organization in general, or state in different countries, states and health departments. Okay, So they mainly poverty line peoples and all, they supply certain nutrients, additional requirements. So for especially even in during antenatal care, pregnant women and all, so they have to assess it. So that is the purpose of nutritional assessment. So there are different methods. It may be direct or indirect. Direct is objective criteria, okay, while indirect method is community health indices. So direct methods and indirect method. See, direct method is anthropometric, it may be biochemical lab test methods, clinical methods. Clinical method means examination by physicians, okay, that is the clinical method. And dietary evaluation method, different types of food can be provided, and what type of food they are taking previous day, or what is their that community is taking, all those things is evaluated. Anthropometric means height, weight, all these things will be involved. These are the four methods. Clinical assessment, if you see the clinical assessment, clinical method or clinical assessment, good nutritional history we have to get. Clinical examination, special attention to hair, angles of the mouth, gum, nail, skin, eye, tongue, muscle, bone and thyroid gland. We have seen in vitamin, mainly water soluble vitamin, angular stomatitis, okay. So we can see fissures at the angles of the mouth, B complex vitamin deficiency, nail, okay, some dry skin, keratinization, okay, dry hair. So this reveals there is the person is deficient of certain nutritional, mainly microvitamins or minerals. So advantages, it's fast and easy to perform, inexpensive and non-invasive. Inexpensive means no need to do biochemical test, other lab test which cost price, money. It's fast. If an expert physician can look at the eye, mouth, hair and all, he can decide. Also non-invasive, no need to give any body procedure like collection of blood and all. So it is non-invasive. So but what is the limitation? Main did not detect early cases, okay, because for some screening tests are required, okay, you may miss with the clinical assessment. So see, these are the some of the clinical signs of nutritional deficiency. The hair, if you see, spare and thin, protein, zinc, biotin deficiency, easy to pull out, protein deficiency, corkscrew, coiled hair, vitamin C and vitamin A deficiency. This is the assessment only, okay. Mouth, glossitis, you have already seen riboflavin, niacin, folic acid, B12, okay. Bleeding and spongy gum, vitamin K, especially vitamin C, vitamin A, folic acid and niacin. Angular stomatitis, callosis, fissured tongue means broken tongue is mainly we can see in this case, okay, in cases of B2, B6 and niacin deficiency. Leukoplakia, you can see it is like hardness, thickened development inside the mouth, okay. Leukoplakia, it looks like a cancerous but non-cancerous. Leukoplakia. Vitamin A deficiency, B12, B complex deficiency, folic acid or niacin deficiency. Sore mouth and tongue, vitamin B12, B6, C, niacin, folic acid, and iron deficiency. Okay, eyes, if you examine night blindness, exophthalmia, vitamin A deficiency. You already seen photophobia, blurring, conjunctival inflammation. Okay, B2, vitamin A deficiency. Nails, especially iron deficiency, anemia, spooning of the nail. It is easy to examine. Protein deficiency, transverse lines we can see in nail. Okay. What about the skin, pallor, folic acid, iron deficiency, follicular hyperkeratosis, that is vitamin B and vitamin C deficiency, flaking dermatitis, PM, protein, energy malnutrition, B2, vitamin A, zinc and niacin deficiency, pigmentation, desquamation, niacin and P, also in protein, energy malnutrition. That we will see next. There are two, Kwashiorkor and marasmus are two protein energy malnutrition diseases. Brushing and purpura, mainly platelet, vitamin K, vitamin C, and folic acid. Okay, so that is there. Sorry, there is a little disturbance in this. Okay, so next, skin, you can see pallor is over skin. Thyroid gland, especially mainly in mountainous areas and far from sea places, high altitude. Goiter is a reliable sign of iodine deficiency. Swelling in the neck, you can see it is the one that is one of the symptoms. Okay. And joints and bones, you can see so which helps to detect the signs of vitamin D deficiency in rickets and vitamin C deficiency, scurvy. Deficiency of vitamin C causes scurvy, mainly that in the collagen defective. Scurvy means what? Defective collagen formation. Vitamin D mainly rickets in children and osteomalacia in adult. A deficiency of vitamin D causes ricket in children, osteomalacia in adult. Deformed bone, especially crack type. Scurvy, defect in the collagen formation. Collagen is the most abundant protein, okay, found in the body. So thyroid gland, mainly goiter, where there is a deficiency of iodine above from the sea levels. So next is anthropometric method. Anthropometric means measurement, body height, weight and all. There is a meaning, essential component of clinical assessment of infants, children and pregnant women. With this we can evaluate both under and over nutrition. So this actually reflects the current nutritional status, and I don't differentiate between acute and chronic changes. So other anthropometric measurement: mid-arm circumference, skin fold thickness, head circumference, head chest ratio, hip waist ratio. these and all mainly to detect the obesity, some of them hip waist ratio and all is very important. Okay, so height measurement for adult height. So subject stands erect and barefooted on a stadiometer with the movement with the movable headpiece. This instrument is there everywhere in general clinicians, pediatricians or general labs even. The headpiece is leveled with the skull vault and height is recorded nearest 0.5 centimeter. Okay. So weight using usually calibrated electronic instrument is there, 0 is there at initial. So weight, so without holding any heavy instrument, any articles, you have to stand. So nearest 100 grams we can weigh. Suppose that person is 60 kg, 100 gram, 200 gram and all. Again milligrams and all not required. So nutritional indices in adult, the international standard is there, which is known as body mass index. You heard, I think, BMI. What is the formula to detect, to calculate BMI? Weight in kg divided by height in meter square. Weight in kgs. Suppose my weight is 90 kg. Height is, I am 6 feet means, okay. 6 feet means 1 feet is 30 centimeters. 30 into 6, 180. See, 180 centimeter is 6 feet. 180 centimeter means in meter, 1 meter means 100 centimeter. 180 meter means 1.8 meter. So height 180 centimeter means 6 feet. 1 feet is 30 centimeter. Suppose your weight is your height is 6 feet. 1 feet is 30 centimeter. So 6 feet is 30 into 3, 30 into 6, that is 180 centimeter. 180 centimeter is equal to 1.8 meter. Okay. So 1.8 to meter square means 1.8 to 8 into 1.8, that comes under denominator. Okay. Nominator weight in kg. Suppose my weight is 90 kg, my height is 180 centimeter means 1.8 into 1.8, that is height in meter square. Okay. So you can calculate your body mass index now itself. Evidence shows that high BMI obesity level is associated with type 2 diabetic mellitus and high risk of cardiovascular morbidity and mortality. So type 2 diabetes is mainly, it is a metabolic syndrome, maturity onset diabetic mellitus. Okay. There is a presence of insulin, but insulin, sometimes insulin sensitivity supply is not there. This obesity is one of the reason. Okay. Patient are less sensitive to insulin resistance. Okay. So they are resistant because of the obesity. Okay. Also it is high risk of cardiovascular morbidity. It may be deposition of high LDL cholesterol because of the obesity. Okay. So finally it may lead to mortality, death. So BMI less than, what is the formula for BMI? Weight in kg divided by height in meter square. BMI less than 18.5 underweight, 18.5 to 25, 24.5 is healthy, 25 to 30 overweight, 30 to 40 obese, more than 40 is very obese, morbid, dangerous. See waist by hip ratio. Okay. Measured at the level of umbilicus to the nearest 0.5 centimeter. So subject stand erect with a relaxed abdominal muscle, arms at the side and feet together. The measurement should be kept, should be taken at the end of the normal expiration. end of normal aspiration, otherwise there is a this abdominal movement is there. Okay, waist circumference predicts mortality better than any other uh, anthropometric measurement. It has been proposed that waist measurement alone can be used to assess obesity, and two levels of risk have been identified in male and female. So, waist circumference is very important in measuring obesity risk. Okay. So, level 1, if waist is more than 94 centimeter in males, in females more than 80 centimeter. Level 2 is more than 102 centimeter in males, more than 88 centimeter in female. Okay. So, there are two levels of risk. So, this is the just to show waist measurement, waist by hip ratio, waist by hip ratio, this is okay. So, how to measure the waist? This is not required much. Actually, measure around the narrowest part of the torso. Okay. Hip again measure at the point of greatest circumference around the hips and around the hips and buttocks to the nearest 0.5 centimeter. So, person should be standing at the measurer, and the measurer should squat beside him. So, they should need to know practically. So, most of the times the nursing professionals, they know better. So, with a flexible measurement, non-stretchable tape in close contact with the skin, but without intending the soft tissue. Okay, just touching only. So, as I told, no need to take too much seriousness with the slides, but you should know what is the body mass index and what is these ratios, what is the importance of this. So, this is the importance of a ratio, waist hip ratio. Okay. More than 0.80 for females, high risk, and more than 0.95 for males. Waist measurement, more than 80% of hip measurement for women and more than 95% for men indicate central obesity and is considered high risk for diabetes and cardiovascular disorders. So, central obesity, more than 80% of hip measurement for women and more than 95% in men indicate central upper body. Central means upper body obesity. So, upper body obesity is high risk for, first of all, any obesity is risk for diabetic and cardiovascular diseases. So, waist hip ratio below these cutoff values is considered as low risk. So, there are some advantages of anthropometry. Objective with high specificity and sensitive. Readings are reproducible. Okay. We can get same reproducible means second time we get same supposed to get, we should get same readings. If you repeat the procedure, you should get same reading. Non-expensive and need minimal training. Non-expensive means no need sophisticated automated instruments and all. Okay, electronic instruments, whatever is there we can use for multi-purpose. Weighing balance, for example, then meter scale. There is multi-purpose used in the hospital, and also your meter this one, and need minimal training. No need some high training, minimal training. Even nursing assistants also can do this procedure. Dietary assessment, second one, that is clinical assessment and all. Anthropometry, next one. Clinical is examination. Anthropometry, this height, weight and all. Dietary assessment, 5 different methods. 24 hours dietary recall. These I given in little detail because this is taken from the nursing. Food frequency questionnaire, dietary history since early life, food dietary technique, observed food consumption. These are the one. 24 hours dietary recall. A trained interviewer asks the subject to recall the food and drink taken in the previous 24 hours. It is a quick, easy and depend on a short-term memory but may not be true representative of person's usual intake. If you remember, it's okay, 24 hours, whatever he took, okay. Food frequency questionnaire. In this method, the subject is given a list of around 100 food items to indicate his or her intake, frequency and quantity per day, per week and per month. Person is given with 100 different food items, mainly included local food, and indicate what he takes usually, frequently, and how much quantity he takes. Okay. So after seeing this food list, he remember I am taking morning this, afternoon this, usually weekly once this, non-veg, whatever. So this is inexpensive, more representative and easy to use. Okay. So interpretation of dietary data on quantitative method using the food pyramid and basic food group method. Different nutrients are classified into 5 groups, as I told before in the list. This determine the number of serving from each group and compare with the minimum requirement. So dietary history is an accurate method for assessing the nutritional status. The information should be collected by a trained interviewer. Details about usual intake types, amount, frequency, timings need to be obtained, otherwise no use. Okay, how much amount also needed, what time is taking, all those things. Cross checking to verify data is important here. Food diary. Food intake should be recorded by the subject at the time of consumption. The person should record the length of the collection period is range between 1 to 7 days. Okay, reliable but difficult to maintain food diary because most of them are not interested to write for 7 days how much food they take, morning, evening, afternoon, all those things. Okay, so there are biochemical lab method. So there is initial laboratory assessment, like assessment of hemoglobin we can do lab. So is the most important. Other test also we can do for to any hemoglobin, mainly to know whether a person is anemic or not. Beside anemia, it is also tells about protein and trace element nutrition. Stool examination for the presence of ova and intestinal parasites. And these ova and other parasites may cause this nutritional disorders. Okay, because they consume the food nutrients from the host. Urine dipstick and microscopy for albumin, sugar, these are the normal screening method. Dipsticks, person may come to know whether is a protein is excreted in the urine, whether is diabetic, and microscopy for albumin, sugar and blood, which reveals a lot of specific lab tests like measurement of individual nutrient in the body, serum retinol, serum iron, and these are expensive. Okay, detection of abnormal amount of metabolites, urinary creatinine by hydroxyproline ratio, analysis of hair, nails, skin for micronutrients. So advantages of biochemical method. The main advantages is to detect early changes in the body metabolism and nutrition before appearance of overt clinical signs. Okay, clinical signs only we can see in clinical assessment, like spoon shaped nail, pallor and all. So this method we can detect early changes, okay, biochemical method, because using the these parameters we can come to know, okay, what is happening. So useful to validate data obtained from dietary methods, precise, accurate and reproducible, okay, these methods. Useful to validate data obtained from dietary methods. Comparing salt intake within 24 hours of urinary. Example is comparing salt intake within 24 hours of urinary excretion, okay. So limitations. So limitations of biochemical method: time consuming, expensive. Expensive is the main thing, because we have to test is cost effective, okay. They cannot be applied for large scale. It takes time, expensive instrument is needed, time consuming, money also required, need trained personnel and facilities, lab trained personnel who is handling the instrument and all required. So these are the assessment of nutritional status what I am giving here. So no need to take all the slides, just remember what is this, how to assess a nutritional status of an individual. You should get an idea, that is all, okay. This is not very important from the exam point of view.